My name is Eric Fortenberry. Excited to have Adam McChesney and Todd Wall from Hite Digital joining us today. They're going to walk us through their 5 steps to guarantee a return on investment with digital marketing. So, I know we've had a lot of interest from the JobTread community about marketing, and so we're excited to bring these guys here and bring them into the community to help you all. A couple of housekeeping things real quick before we get started. Again, I want to encourage everybody, if you're on Facebook and you're not in the JobTread Pros group, you definitely want to get in there. It's a great community, great group, very active. My team is active on there, helping answer questions, but we love seeing everyone helping each other learn and grow. Lots of feature requests come through there, lots of help about various things. So it's a great community to be part of. If you're not on there, go ahead and request to join, and we'll get you in there. Also want to give a little plug here again. We got JobTread Connect coming up in January. It's going to be an awesome event, going to be even bigger and better than last year's. January 17th to the 19th in Dallas, Texas. You're all going to get to come see our new office. We were in Richardson before. Now we're right here in the heart of Dallas. We've got the conference venue right attached to our building at the Westin Hotel. So, going to be a really great event. We actually just extended it a little bit to accommodate more ed sessions and more people. We've had a lot of sponsors and people joining the show. So we look forward to having another great event this year, and want to make sure you all get your tickets in the JobTread marketplace. Also got some awesome builder stories episodes that have come out over the last few weeks here. Aaron Hershaw was the episode this week. We had Jason Varney last week, Bob Turner before that, Jared Thayer. These are some great guys that you definitely want to go and take a little bit of time to learn from their story, their journey, about how they've built their businesses and the lessons that they've learned along the way. So if you're not tuned in to Builder Stories, definitely go follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever your fancy. It's a great place though to keep learning from other fellow builders out there. And a couple other webinars I wanted to highlight. So we do have one tomorrow. It's going to be another JobTread Live product update. We just rolled out a WIP report that we're really excited about. So definitely tune in for that one. And then we're also going to be doing a what to expect webinar on October 27th. So that'll be another great one for, to learn more about the JobTread Connect conference. All right. So without further ado, want to, introduce you all to Hite Digital. They are a full service digital marketing agency, ROI driven lead generation and branding. After this webinar today, you can go find them directly in the JobTread marketplace. We've got that form where you can reach out to them, get connected with them. I've already seen, a handful of people have gotten in touch with them, and lots of great, feedback has been shared with me thus far. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to these guys and let them share some knowledge on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Eric. We really appreciate that. It's been incredible now, about a month and a half as being a member of the marketplace on JobTread, and just loving what we're seeing and hearing in the conversations. And Todd will kind of talk a little bit more about that. Excited for JobTread Connect. So we signed up as a gold sponsor for that event as well. So definitely make sure you're attending there. We'll be there as well. In today's webinar, we're going to talk about 5 steps to guarantee return on investment with digital marketing. The reason why you should do any sort of marketing and advertising is obviously to get some type of return on investment out of it. So we're going to talk about 5 steps in order to guarantee that here today. Just a quick introduction. My name is Adam McChesney. I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a partner at Hite Digital and our VP of growth. And then I'll turn it over to Todd.
Did Adam freeze?
No, sorry. I was turning it over to you. I was just saying, just to introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I froze, and that's not a bad thing. But hey, I'm super excited about being here. I cannot wait to share some of the stuff we're about to share with you on how to build trust and get a return out of your marketing. I have absolutely loved being part of the JobTread community, not only because of how much all of you love JobTread, with all of with like the new formulas that came out and the new features that are coming with that. I'm excited to be partnered with JobTread. And I've loved every conversation I've been able to be a part of with each one of you that have reached out. So we are here to help you get that ROI. More leads equals more sales. More sales means a happier life.
Thanks, Todd. So a little bit about what to expect today. We're going to go over 5 steps. Also threw in some bonuses as well. So we'll talk about some bonuses. I always like to over deliver on the value. And then if we have some time at the end, we'll talk about some Q&A. But the 5 key steps to guaranteeing that return on investment with digital marketing is to first talk about digital marketing gone wrong. So we're going to talk about what you need to know and what you should be expecting. If you don't know about what to expect, you don't know if something's working or not. We're going to talk about tracking everything and knowing your numbers. We'll talk about reviews and testimonials and how reviews and testimonials can help get more out of your digital marketing advertising in dollars. We'll talk about a combined approach of doing both organic and paid, and then follow up and close everything off with the consistency behind all of this. The bonuses that we're going to include today is just a current digital marketing landscape, kind of giving you guys a lay of the land of what's currently going on, and then how to be a great marketing client. So we're going to kick it off right here with our core values. Core values for us are really, really important, and we take these very serious at Hite Digital. That is up here in our office in St. Louis on our wall. Our core values are in the acronym of TRUST. We focus on taking action, focus on results that matter. If results aren't there, we have to put a plan in place in order to make that happen. Utilize resources. There's so many different resources that are out there right now. We are very resourceful when it comes to working with our digital marketing clients. We want to make sure it's a fruitful relationship, and we want to make sure that we're exhausting all resources available in order to get you that return on investment. With digital marketing, if you've worked with marketing companies before, one of the things that we hear all of the time is, we've been burned. We've been burned. We were, over-promised and under-delivered, all of those things. We've heard everything under the sun. Part of the problem is the proper expectations weren't set. So we focus on setting those proper expectations and then ultimately transform lives. As Todd mentioned, when you get more sales, when you get more leads, when you get all of those things, that's where not only you as the individual business owner, your life has changed, your customers' lives are changed, but also the employees of your business. You're able to retain employees, hire more employees, and continue to grow and scale your company. So a little bit of background and qualifications about Hite Digital. Hite Digital originally started back in 2017 as a white label digital marketing agency. So if anybody's familiar with the marketing agency world, there's a lot of agencies that are out there that will just white label somebody else's work. That was Hite Digital doing a lot of that work back in 2017, all the way up until 2020. In 2020, we launched we're the only digital marketing franchise in the entire world. We've been up to as many as 26 locations. Our clients get the benefits of working with a large marketing firm with the perks of a small boutique agency. So Todd is our director of partnerships. We'll talk a little bit more about our team and kind of what it means to work with a digital marketing agency of our size. We have 150 full-time in-house team members, so nothing is outsourced. We have over 600 clients managing over $2 million a month in ad spend. We focus on bringing stability to an unregulated industry. Anybody and their brother and sister can start a marketing agency, which is why you see so much volatility and so much up and down and all these issues in our space. We're trying to bring some stabilization to the industry. We were named to the Inc. 5000 last year at 868 in 2022, and again this year in 2023 at 937. We'll get the next slide. So first thing that we're going to talk about is digital marketing gone wrong. And I'm here to tell you that digital marketing is not as complicated as people make it. But you can't know if something is working or not if you don't know exactly what to look for. And so where digital marketing goes wrong and where campaigns get off on the wrong start and strategies and all these different things is if you don't have a clear understanding of your goals. If there's a misunderstanding of what you're trying to get out of marketing and advertising, you might as well not start it from the beginning because you're going to have no idea if it's working. A lot of people focus on non-ROI driven KPIs, right? So I want to get exposure. I want to get reach. I want to feel like my stuff is taking off. I want to go viral. Why do you want to go viral if you can only offer services in your local area? You got to make sure that all of these strategies play into actually getting you more business where it matters most. A lot of times people will want to start with the wrong services. So I want to do TikTok ads. I want to do YouTube ads. I want to do all of these different things that actually aren't performing for your industry and for your location. Unrealistic expectations. I want to get to the first page of Google in the first 30 days because somebody told me it was possible. Likely not realistic in any industry, in any city across the country. Typically, they will try to do it themselves, or they'll hire an inexperienced marketer. And again, that just sets the expectations wrong that this is probably not going to work. Cookie cutter strategies. Hey, this worked for one company one time in one area, so we're going to do this for this client as well. These approaches have to be tailored to you and your business, and that's really what we harp on. And then messy reporting. So we're going to show you some dashboards and things like that that we focus on when we're reporting to our clients, because we want to start with the end in mind, which is return on investment, and then work back from there. Yes, we care about impressions. Yes, we care about clicks and growth and all of those things, but we don't try to messy the waters. We'll tell you exactly what it is and exactly what it isn't. So when we talk about tracking everything, of course, it starts at the foundation of knowing your numbers. Without having targets and goals, you won't know if something is working or not. So we use things and recommend you use things like call in contact form tracking. QR codes are obviously made its way back after COVID, but you're able to put QR codes on so many different things, from landing pages to websites and all of these different things. We're actually going to use some later in this webinar today, but you need to use things in order to understand where things are converting. It's important to know your cost per lead and to know where those leads are coming from, where those phone calls, where those customers are coming from. Is it Facebook? Is it Facebook organic or paid? Is it coming from your Google business listing? Is it coming because somebody already did business with you or somebody referred you? Of course, CRM, JobTread, main focus of all of this stuff. When you track your numbers and you understand where your leads are coming from, you're able to gamify growing and scaling your business online, which is what we love to do when we're looking at the numbers and saying, hey, this is what's going really, really well, and this is how it's working. But hey, this is not working so well, so we need to turn this off and increase this and decrease that. And then, of course, wherever you can put automation in your business, it will help you know your numbers better than where you know it today. So this is an example of a contractor up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we're able to see in this dashboard, this is over a 30-day period, where they're tracking their numbers and understanding what is working and what is not. So they've been a client for a very long time. We redesigned their website. We do SEO. We do Google Ads, all of that good stuff. So what we're able to see is there were 77 leads that came in the month of June. The quoted value of business that came in from those leads was almost $300,000. They closed $130,000, meaning lead came in, and they were able to sell it in June. And then of all the leads that came in, so basically 1 out of 3 leads that came in, they were actually able to convert in some sort of aspect, whether that's a sale or lead. So you're able to see the breakdown between calls and forms and all of those different things. Where you take this one step further is then you can then track these numbers down to the traffic source. So regardless if you're doing marketing yourself or you're working with a company, you should be getting this type of data and updating this data to understand what mediums and what traffic sources are actually getting you an ROI and what that ROI is. So we're able to see here that from all the different organic SEO sources, here's how much business was actually sold of that 130. Well, 66,000 came from Google organic SEO, 24,000 came from Yahoo organic SEO. Yes, crazy enough, people still use that. 13,000 from the Google business listing, Google Ads at 9,600, Bing, DuckDuckGo, another search engine. You're able to see all these different things. So we're then able to reverse engineer that they're getting a 59x, or they got a 59x return on investment. Now, they've been doing SEO for a while, but we know their numbers. Whereas Google Ads was more of that 2x return on investment, which is typically what we'll see in the very beginning of getting a campaign started, just in order to get enough data in order to get to that next level with the campaign. But these are numbers that you should be getting access to and you should be keeping track of on your own. You don't want to make decisions on your marketing and advertising around feelings or what you think might be happening. You should be letting the data tell the story. Taking it one step further, even from that, we're able to see specific where these jobs came from and know if it came from a specific landing page or where they converted out on the website. So this is a $29,000 roofing, siding, gutters, soffit, and fascia job that came in from a web form from the Google business listing. You're able to see that this $24,000 job came from Yahoo via a landing page that we built around their SEO campaign for siding in a specific suburb. So one of the big things with SEO is if you're not consistently adding content to the website each and every single month and going very, very deep with your website, you're doing yourself a disservice to not get all the keywords and all the traffic that you could be getting, which then turns into leads and jobs. So you're able to see that we built out a siding installation page in a very small suburb in Pittsburgh. And that page was the search that ended up getting the conversion of a $24,000 job on Yahoo, albeit. This is another company. They sell a little bit more on the product side, but they came to us in May, and their highest month before this was $325,000. We took a campaign over because they didn't get the transparency for the last company that they were working with on what data actually mattered. So they were saying, hey, you spent $5,000 here, $10,000 here, and this is what we think you ended up getting from that campaign. Well, we were able to take it one step further and understand what was coming from Google ads versus Facebook ads versus SEO. And in that next month, go to 397 in May, 433 in June. And then in July, they had their biggest month ever, $200,000 more than their previous biggest month prior to working with us, because we turned this into a game, leveraging all the data that we were just talking about and going step by step and saying, hey, not only is Google ads getting you a better return on investment than Facebook ads, but your average value is 20% more of what people are spending there. So let's let the data tell a story, not the feelings. So I'm going to turn it over to Todd so he can start talking about some reviews and testimonials.
Thanks, Adam. I love that line, and we use that line a lot. The data has to tell the story. This is an unemotional thing. So what I'm going to talk about here in the next few minutes is I'm going to walk you through the process of how to be successful in the search process. Or maybe in your business, you've encountered this where you talk to a client and they say they need to do some research. All they're doing is Googling. They're not doing it. They're definitely not going to the Encyclopedia Britannica, but this Google is the research process. I want to help you be successful in that search process. So, but here's the big problem in that. Here's the big problem in this is your clients, your customers, they have a problem, but the even bigger problem is that they don't trust anybody who's trying to sell them, especially if it's a big ticket item. They do not trust you on the front end. So that trust barrier is the primary key that has to be gotten over. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into that. And that's really the crux of marketing. So there's a couple things I want to walk through in this that really help you get over that trust barrier, so that, because they're going to pay the price that you're asking. You don't have to lower your price. You just have to get over the trust barrier. So let's think through this process and get into the psychology and the mindset of what is it a person is actually looking for. Whether they want to renovate or something breaks in their house, where they've got that water leak, whatever the problem is that they're trying to solve, you're trying to show that you have the answer to that problem and that you're trustworthy enough for them to give you a call and give you a chance. That begins with social proof, social proof, social proof. People believe their neighbors more than they're going to believe you. So how do we emulate that? If their neighbor hasn't used you, their neighbor hasn't had this problem, how do we replicate that same level of trust? That comes through reviews. That comes through testimonials. And so the first thing that you want to do is you want to create these reviews and testimonials on as many channels as you possibly can. You know, whenever you go to Google, you're going to see, and I'm going to show you some examples in just a second, all the Google reviews. You can see reviews on Facebook as well. Those are two primary sources that you want to be feeding reviews. And by the way, in just a few minutes, I'm going to give you a secret on how to get those reviews, because I come from 30 years in television, and those athletes who get on television, they're operating according to a framework. They're following a formula. There's also a formula for your reviews. And I'm going to share that with you in just a minute. Okay. So you got your reviews on Google and on Facebook, but also video testimonials are absolutely vital. And here's where I teach a lot of clients on this. What if, because it's a lot about just retraining your brain to do small little things that make a major impact. You know, when you reveal your project to that client, they're over the moon excited because you do a fantastic job. You're great at what you do. What if you trained yourself to have your phone right there ready? And so that when they come out and they've got the big HGTV reveal and they're all excited, what if in that moment while their satisfaction level is at its highest, you trained yourself to bring, or your text to bring out their phone and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, tell me, what do you think about this project? And hold it up. By the way, that's my hot wife. But anyway, hold up your camera in front of them and get a video testimonial right there on the spot while they're more excited about this project than they ever have been. And if you'll tell them what to do and what to say, they're more than happy to do that. But it's programming yourself to do those things, to ask for that video testimonial. And then you want to create as many channels as you can. Put that video testimonial on your social media. Put that video testimonial and those Google reviews on your website. Put them everywhere you possibly can. So now let me talk about those reviews just a little bit, because that social proof is absolutely vital. They do not believe what you say about yourself. They're not going to believe it. Go ahead and put all sorts of bright and shiny things about yourself. Yes, but they're not going to believe it. They're going to believe what other people say. So we need to do everything we possibly can to manufacture, to make it easy for your happy clients to say great things about you. So one of the ways you can do that is through automations. You know, with technology now, there are triggers that you can put in play. For example, you can use Zapier to set up triggers so that when you send that final invoice and they pay it, it can automatically send a text that says, with a little link that says, will you please give me a review, and give some instructions on that. You don't have to be the one who sends it. Automations can actually make that process even more simple for you. If you make it simple for them, then make that step easy for them. They're gonna do it for you because they're happy about what you did for them. So, and then once they make a review, even if it's a bad one, look, people do business with people they like and they connect with. Respond to those reviews. SEO is about activity. Google is looking for who is dangerous and who is safe. The safe people in Google's mind are the people who are interacting with their customers in a safe and authentic way. And so even on these Google reviews, and when Mrs. Jones puts up a review of how great you were, jump in there and say, Mrs. Jones, it was an absolute joy to actually work with you and interact with you. We absolutely loved it. If Steve jumps in and says, this was the worst thing I've ever done, worst business I've ever encountered, jump on there and say, hey, Steve, man, I feel bad about that too. We're going to do everything we possibly can to counteract that. I'm going to reach out to you directly. Interact with them. Make an authentic connection. Authentic connections convert. That's our chief aim in marketing, is to create an authentic connection with this customer that doesn't trust you. And so we're trying to build that trust. And we do that through this process of beginning that social proof and automations on as many channels as possible as you can.
Hey, Todd, I just wanted to jump in there real quick because somebody had a question about, should I give the client my phone to be able to do it? And I responded there, but this is an auto glass company that I actually own here in St. Louis. I've also owned a landscape design company here as well, leveraging all the things that we're talking about. Specifically for the auto glass company, in order for us, we're actually close to now like 300 reviews. We actually leave an air freshener behind with every single client after the job is done. And on the back of that air freshener, it is a QR code that goes directly to the review. So yes, you can, leave postcards and all those types of things to do it, but the more creative that you can be, a lot of our clients will literally send us pictures and then post on social media of the actual air freshener in the car, which gets us extra promotion. On the landscape design side, we would actually put together a nice little gift box, doing things like tumblers and cups and all of these things, koozies, and give them that at the end of the project with the QR code on the back of it, which did two things. Is one, obviously triggered them to give a review because you're giving them something extra above and beyond, so they feel obligated to do it, especially if you've done a great job. But two, they're likely going to have a bunch of these things hanging out around. They're going to have people over and people are going to see those things. So think about what you could be doing extra to make that client experience a little bit better while also driving the review. That's where you get more reviews and more quality reviews.
So Adam, let's go back and forth on this just a little bit, because the customer in the journey here, they haven't even gotten to the website. There's not even an opportunity. All they've done is they've put in the search term, I've got a problem, 911, I have an issue. And so this is your company here. And this is a great example. This is SEO at its best. Even before the customer gets to the website, the first thing they see is this Google business page, and then they see all these dots on the map. Tell us about your process with your auto glass company, of how you're beating national companies to that top ranking.
Yeah, so I've been in digital marketing since 2018. I used to just build websites and rank them to the first page of Google, and two of them generated so many leads that I just decided to start companies. One of them being Auto Glass company that we started in January of 2021, and then one being a landscape design business doing all the outdoor stuff that a lot of you on here do, and that we started that in May of 2021. I don't know anything about either of those industries. I don't know how to do anything landscape design. I do know nothing on the auto glass repair side, but because of setting up for SEO success, we were able to get it there and keep our first #1 ranking, especially on the auto glass repair side, where we do outrank those people, mainly due to our Google reviews and the consistent SEO that we're doing each and every single month in order to keep that top spot.
Man, Adam, here's what I love, because everybody in JobTread is good at their job. They're good at their trade. They're good at what they do. You know nothing about auto glass. People say, is marketing worth doing anything? You know nothing about landscape, nothing about marketing, and you've got two businesses that are blowing and going because of marketing. Leads create business.
Yes.
I love that. Because you're not a tradesman yourself. That's absolutely beautiful. So this is the first layer, and this is the first layer of SEO, search engine optimization, of when a person puts in a phrase, and it's going to pop up. This first thing is these on your Google Maps. All of these phrases have to be optimized so that person can see in an instant that they can trust you. They see your star rating. They see exactly what you do. So as they're going to scroll through that, they're scanning. Is this the type of person that I'm looking for? And so an optimized business profile, and it used to be called Google My Business, and Google just changed that to Google Business Profile, just to throw everybody for a loop. But your Google Business Profile is one of the elements we always work with in our SEO process, because it is the front lines. That's the front layer that people are going to be going to and are going to be looking at. And so, everybody recognizes this. This is the person doing their research on Google, and this is what's popping up. You see all the little notes of the pins where your competition is. Your goal is to rank within this first, and then they're going to go to your website. If you don't win this front line, then they're not going to get to your website where all the beautiful pictures of your team and your jobs and all of that are in. It is vital to have every word in that optimized, to have your contact information in there, and to be feeding that Google business page every single week. Because we call this Google juice, or at least dorks like me do, call it Google juice, meaning when your Google business page, when you give a post on that, it's going to give Google juice for 1 week. That's why we post on these things for our clients every single week. So it's constantly flowing through and keeping your Google business page optimized, because Google is a search engine. And so we want to be as high up on that as we possibly can. Again, Adam, this is your business. You're beating all these national companies. What else jumps to you on this slide?
I think the biggest thing is just the consistency. So where you're talking about posting every single week to the Google business listing, this is also adding new content to the website every single week. Most of the time, people want to start doing SEO or ads or any of these types of things, and they think it's just going to be so easy to outrank the people, especially the national companies or the large local brands that have been doing this forever. I refer to SEO specifically as like going to the gym, right? So if you start to go to the gym today, but you've never gone to the gym before, all the other people that are competing with you on that first page of Google have been going to the gym for months, if not years. The way that you do it bigger and better is you do more content, more quality content, and then you track all of this stuff to figure out what's working. Not
because the data tells the story.
Exactly. In order to overcome this stuff, it's not a magic wand, no different than growing and scaling your business through all the traditional ways as well.
So let me give you one of our secrets, and this is the formula that Adam has been using with his company and the other companies. All communication has to break down what makes all communication easy and effective is breaking it down into an effective framework. I come from sports broadcasting. So the reason so many people get so sucked into sports broadcasting isn't so much because of the team you think it is, but it's the framework of communication in which they're laying it down that makes it digestible. And then you go, oh, yeah, I know exactly what's going on. A lot of times you feel like you know more than the quarterback and the GM if you're a sports fan. So let me break down what you need to have in a review, because I've got a memorable way in order to do it. So this formula, this framework is the what, where, how, where. Okay. So when you ask a person to give a review, they don't know what to do. You need to understand the reason people don't like being on social media or on stage, or they don't know what to say. So you need to feed them a framework that can help them know what to say. And the easy way to remember that is what, where, how, where. What, where, how, where. Here's what it means. So what, meaning what was the service that was provided, in this case, like the auto glass repair. Then where was it? What was the city? So your location in your city is vital for SEO. That's one of the key words that Google is constantly looking for. So what was it? Auto glass repair. Where at? In the city, in Oakville, Missouri. What was then how? What did they experience? What was it like? And then again, where? They came to my home and took care of the auto glass. So it's what, where, how, where. Okay, so let me show you how this plays out even in real life. So here's an example of a review, and you're going to see this formula in play. Okay, so I recently hired auto glass repair of St. Louis. What? Where? St. Louis. To repair my windshield for my Chevy Malibu. Garrett was here comes the how. Garrett was my technician, and he was on time, professional, and communicated proactively. And they were affordably priced and were one of the few companies that answered right away. They even came to my home, so I didn't have to take it in. They said, what? Auto glass. Where? St. Louis. How they were treated, and then where it was in person. So they came to me. That showed exactly what happened. So that's a great, memorable way for you to feed them on how to get that review, because they don't know what to say. It's not that they're not happy with you. They may even open the link and they're like, I've got to go do something else. I don't know what to say. So if you can feed them this information, tell me what we did, where it was, how we did, and then if we came to you, or again, something about where it was. And those are the key factors for SEO, so we can keep feeding that machine. So now let me talk a little bit about the organic plus paid strategy. Once they've gone to that Google business page, they're going to see, if you've optimized that phrase, then they're going to see the tabs either call you immediately or your website. Their next step is they're going to go to your website and they're going to check you out. So this is where all roads need to converge. And this comes into where the strategy that we play out quite a bit is our ideal strategy. And you're going to see this in consistency that I'm going to talk to a little bit, but I'm going to try to speed up the presentation here just a little bit. But you want on that website, you want all roads to converge with your reviews, your social media, your blogs, and the keywords, the location pages. You want on your website to go deep into the locations where you serve. Google is not going to assume anything. You have to talk specifically about what you do, where you do it, and how you do it. And so there's multiple ways of getting to this, and this is where the consistency comes. Digital marketing, I always say, operates in two lanes. It's hunting and farming. Hunting are the Google ads and the paid ads. It can be pricey, and just like Adam was talking about going to the gyms, this can even be called, hey, I need a shot of injection. I need to use some steroids. That can be Google ads, but it can be costly, just like steroids. So you need to be aware of that. If you do too much of that, it can be detrimental. It can be detrimental to your budget. Now, if we get that dialed in, if you put in $1 and it makes you $3, then put in $2. It's just follow the data. But sometimes those Google ads, it's a seasonal thing where you need to add steroids in a seasonal approach. Overall, SEO is what builds consistency. That is farming. On a month-to-month basis, you have to be feeding Google the information it needs in an optimized way that Google can digest it, because Google's trying to figure out, can I trust this person enough to refer them to my friend who's asking this question? And so SEO is the long-term play that is absolutely necessary for every business, so that your rankings can start going up and up and up and up. And it's not always you're number one on every page. You're number one or high in those key areas where you serve. And so SEO is the farming approach. And it is absolutely vital that we have your communication back and forth, because the next thing you're going to see, like this is a call log from Adam's company, and that really it typifies, even in many ways, the digital marketing process. There's going to be lots of ups and downs in this process. You cannot make emotional decisions. The data tells a story, and it's in a constant process of optimizing and figuring out how to create that connection with your customer. So you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. And we have to be communicating with one another so we can figure out what's going on, what's the data telling us, so that we can re-optimize and get back up to those peaks and valleys, because Google's constantly changing. Therefore, you must constantly be optimizing. So, Adam, back over to you for bonus tip number 1.
Yeah, great stuff, Todd. So bonus tip number 1, run through this real quick. Current digital marketing landscape. So of course, it's a very crowded space with a lot of gray area. There's hundreds of thousands of options when it comes to working with marketing agencies, doing it in-house, hiring freelancers, everything under the sun. It's important to do your research. There are good companies out there. There are bad companies out there, just as in any industry, but there are good companies out there who can help you. There's companies of all shapes and sizes and plenty of bad apples, and as in any industry, we hear that all of the time. A lot of people will come to us and say, hey, I hate working with marketing companies and all those things. I just tell you, regardless if you hire somebody or you do it yourself, just understand that there are good people out there. And everybody's been burned. You know, it's not, again, we've heard pretty much everything under the sun. Be very, very careful when you're going to vet a marketing agency about bait and switches. So a lot of times people will say, hey, you can build this website for a very, very low monthly fee. And we're seeing a ton of people having to come to us and rebuild websites because they didn't own their digital assets. So ask the right questions. It's notorious for over-promising and under-delivering just to get the sale. A lot of companies are sales-driven organizations. We don't really have a sales team. We have a couple of us out of 150 employees that are all just focused on bringing on the right clients and the right partnerships and all those things. And the reason why there's so much inconsistency is because there's a lot of inexperience out there. If everybody's familiar with, Alex Hormozy or any of these online people that are teaching digital marketing, anybody can say, hey, I'm a website designer, and go start selling it, and they have no idea what's actually going on. And then the other question that we get a lot is AI and marketing. There's still so many different tests that are being done in terms of how you can leverage AI into your website and SEO and all those things. All we tell people is Google is smart, right? And AI is not new by any means. AI has actually been around for a very, very long time when it comes to content creation. And Google has always consistently been able to detect that and then also reprimand based on that as well. So Google is always going to reward doing it the right way and the quality way, even though it might not be as quick or as fast or as easy. It's going to be the long-term benefit that you need. And kind of going on from that, this is a specific report that a lot of companies will send out. I actually got this report from somebody trying to sell my auto glass company digital marketing. So I've seen this stuff come full circle for the last couple of years, being on both sides of the coin. And if you are talking with a marketing agency and they send you this report, this is likely what a report is going to look like right before you hire somebody. So that way they can make it seem like you're not doing anything right at all. And it's possible that this might actually be the legitimate situation. But what they sent me was a very, very competitive keyword. And we're a mobile business, but we have a location obviously as well. So we're only going to truly rank in a given area for a very, very competitive keyword because this is auto glass repair essentially near me, right? And so this is a tactic a lot of marketing companies will use in order to get your business because you think everything is crashing and burning. And I see it all the time in with some of the largest marketing companies that everybody knows, right? And then a couple of weeks later, they will send you and say, hey, we started working with you and everything is amazing, right? You hired us and we absolutely changed the game for you. What they're not going to tell you is that they changed the keyword, which is not nearly as competitively searched of a keyword because it's got the auto glass repair St. Louis and a lot of people are searching near me, et cetera. Nothing at all changed, but they're going to make you think that it changed in order to continue to get them to, or to get you to pay them month after month after month. So there's some things that you just need to be aware of when you're going and working and having conversations with marketing agencies to protect yourself, to not just get the whole bait and switch and go from there. And one of the things that you'll also see specifically is if I'm going to hire a company as a consumer, especially in the marketing space, I'm going to ask to see hey, what are you doing in your own business? So if I'm a landscape designer, if I'm any sort of a contractor, I want to know that the company I'm going to hire is actually going to do the work on their own house, right? So if you type in digital marketing St. Louis, our website is on the first page of Google and has been on the first page of Google for almost 2 years. That's our main localized keyword with our hub website, right? We've been able to do this in a very competitive space. People sign up with us because we actually can prove what it is that we do for our clients. And we've gotten over 100 Google reviews on our own, whereas no other company in our space has anywhere near close to that. So we practice what we preach because the proof is in the pudding. And if we're gonna actually do these things for your company, and regardless of who you hire, you want to make sure that they're also practicing what they preach as well. So I will turn it over to Todd here real quick for bonus tip number 2 before we close it out.
Hey, Adam, I actually didn't know I was doing this bonus tip, but I can wing it, or you can run with it.
I'll run through it. All right. So one of the things, a lot of questions we get asked is, how do I be the best digital marketing client? There's a couple of these key things here. The best digital marketing partnerships are where both sides take ownership and collaborate. So you need to make sure that you're meeting with your agency consistently, right? So that could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. It just depends on what types of services you're doing, but absolutely demand that. Of course, tracking your numbers, communicate early in offering, and make sure that you're reporting back on lead quality. Nobody wants 100 more non-qualified leads, even though everybody's like, I need more leads. No, you'd rather have 5 to 10 quality leads that are your ideal clients, that are not headaches, that are your most profitable ones. So you need to report back on the quality of the leads that you're getting. Be specific. Hey, I'm looking for 5 more outdoor kitchens over the next 90 days with an average ticket value of X, Y, and Z in this specific zip code or zip code areas. Be specific. Tell the truth. A lot of times, like, people don't understand that we have call tracking because we obviously record all of these different things. We know the truth behind all of this stuff, and people will try to say, hey, there's been no leads that have been coming in, or these leads suck. Well, we looked back at the calls and 90% of the calls weren't answered. Just tell the truth if you're truly dedicated to having a solid marketing partnership, that's what you need to do. And then ask for what you want within reason. So many times people are like, well, I really want this. Okay, well, ask for it early and often. And if it's possible, we'll tell you, or the other marketing agency will tell you, yes, we can do this. No, we can't, or no, but here's what we can do. So ask for what it is that you want. So all this stuff, of course, you can do on your own. If you're looking for more than just this, we wanted to provide you guys some tips on things you can go put in your business right now. Hite Digital is out there to help you grow and scale. We'll kind of show you some places where you can connect with us and things like that. But we did, here's our leadership team. So you have myself, you have Todd, our partnership director. Demi's our director of client success. Emily's our VP of client experience. Every single client of ours gets a dedicated account manager that works with them, again, on the daily, main point of contact, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly meetings. We have a client experience manager and then a project manager over our creative projects, websites, logos, all those types of things. So this is what our agency typically looks like. Again, when you're hiring an agency and working with an agency, understand what the framework looks like, who's your main point of contacts, what resources do you have, all of those types of things. And then we put together this free PDF download for marketing tips for contractors. So if you scan this PDF, it's just going to take you, you'll be able to get information on tips and things that you can do separate from what we talked about today. Some of it will be a little bit repetitive, but these are some things that you can do to impact your business right now online from the digital marketing aspect. And then the last thing that we have here is Todd's information. This is for a free digital audit and strategy session. This is where you will go to the JobTread marketplace, fill out a form on the marketplace, and that will go directly to Todd and myself. So,
hey, Adam, can I say something on the audit? Because I love the reaction people get when you actually, because the data tells a story. When we actually pull up the tool that shows what your Google authority score is, and your jaw drops, you're like, you thought you were making progress, but then you realize, you see the actual stats behind it. Those audits are absolutely phenomenal for actually showing the truth behind what's actually going on.
Hey, Eric, which QR or which code was getting
Yeah, it looks like it was the first one had a server error.
Okay. We'll send the link out. I just tried it and it worked on my end, so I don't know what was going on, but
now it works if you refresh.
okay. Yeah, it might have just been a quick thing, but awesome. Well, that is all we got. I know we got maybe a couple minutes for some Q&A if available, or Eric, whatever makes the most sense, but we hope how was that, Eric? Was it all right?
Yeah. No, that was awesome. Very, very insightful. I really appreciate you guys going through that. I think there were a couple questions I saw came in. Jackie had asked, can you repeat what we want to make sure we own in regards to our website?
Yeah. So there's a variety of different ways people will spin that. You want to make sure that you own, obviously, your domain name, and then also all the content and everything that's there. So a lot of times, if you're paying a very, very small monthly, if you didn't pay a upfront, I always recommend people paying upfront for their website, so that way they own it outright. If you're paying some type of a monthly fee, typically in the couple $100 range, that's typically a sign that you don't own anything other than your domain. So when you stop paying that monthly fee, you're going to have to redesign the website. But typically that's in the contract or whatever that you signed with that company.
Awesome.
I saw one other question that was asked was, do you need a physical address on your Google business page? And here's a great rule of thumb to even you can answer a lot of these questions yourself is Google is looking for predators. So anytime you can give more verified information, it increases your trustworthiness. And that's ultimately what Google is looking for. So is it required to put in your actual physical address? No, you can state an area, but boy, it's much, much, much better from an SEO perspective if you can do it. It just increases your authority.
We had another question here from Ravi. So you noted two different kinds of leads related to profits. Can you explain what the difference is?
So I was trying to figure out what I'm not exactly clear on the question. Todd, do you know what he's over there?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, paid and organic. Yep. Okay. So the easiest way to explain paid is you basically cheat the system, quote unquote, and you can get to the first page of Google tomorrow, right? As soon as that campaign goes live, you can be front and center. With organic, you are taking time in order to build the foundation and continue to grow and scale that. The short term best return on investment typically is going to be that paid ad because you can get there immediately, but it's always going to be capped, right? So you're always going to have to pay ad spend in order to get that first position. And then you're always going to have the other aspect of, being able to build the SEO a little bit longer. I saw your question. You said back from your case study, actually like the quote value. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So when leads come in our tracking software for our clients, we always want people to track whether they were at least able to quote it or it was an actual sold job. So the difference was, hey, this was the revenue that they were able to send a quote out on. And then that was the other revenue that they were actually able to sell and close in that month. Does the marketing agency typically track results or does the client? That's a great question. So we will house all of the data and then we partner with our clients to dissect the data, but we won't be able to tap in and understand in your internal systems, hey, this job sold or this job didn't. We typically have our clients go in and update that for us to be able to get the most accurate information on each individual job.
And this is where the communication is absolutely vital going back and forth. One of the frustrations our account managers have is because our leads come in and it will record the phone call, it will show the source of the lead, but that next step of saying, okay, this lead was quotable, this one was not, this one was junk. If you're getting a bunch of junk leads, that means we need that communication so that we can optimize and figure out why these junk leads are coming in. So that communication is absolutely vital. But also to answer your question, Michelle, not all marketing agencies are created equal. Not all of them track and provide data and metrics.
I mean, I think one thing that we ought to, at some point look at is, you guys might be able to consume some of that data from our API to pull it back into your system, and then maybe we can kind of work together to help sort of close that loop in an automated way.
That would be amazing. Todd, put that as a call to action.
That's right. I love Eric's brain when it kicks in. I love that.
And yes, we do normally have access to the Google business listing just as a manager. We don't take it over or anything like that. But yes, so typically what we'll do for the Google business profile is we'll do a post a week. We'll optimize it just to make sure that every lever is being pulled and done in the right way. And then we get about 400 different business listings and citations, some of which you might already have. But we also make sure that essentially Google knows you're in all these different directories with your name, your address, and your phone number, if applicable, all consistent across platforms.
How many times do you guys recommend like uploading photos, like, completion photos or work to your Google business profile?
Yep. So we use as best practices at least once a week. There's not we found that as kind of like the happy medium between what Google absolutely recommends you do and also what our clients will do separately. So we'll typically do an SEO rich post once a week, and then our clients will typically funnel stuff in and out depending upon their involvement. But regardless of what it is you do, you just want to be consistent. And that goes both for the Google business listing and the website. If you add 10 new pages or post for 10 straight days in a row to your Google business listing and then don't post again or add new content for 6 months, not that it's not beneficial, but they're looking for consistent action time and time again, doing exactly what you did consistently in order to get where you're at.
Living, breathing people.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw there was one other question over the Q&A. So can you repeat, did you say to post new content on your website weekly to improve SEO?
So we do 4 new pages at minimum a month. So you could do that weekly all at once. Doesn't really matter. That's in forms of blogs, location or area served pages, FAQs, service pages. But yeah, the rule of thumb for us is a minimum of 4 new pages a month, which you could do weekly or all at once monthly.
The weekly we discussed was for your Google business profile because that Google juice only lasts about a week. So if you skip 2 weeks, you're gonna lose some of the juice.
Awesome. All right. Well, I see we're at the top of the hour, so want to be respectful of everyone's time. Again, Adam, Todd, really appreciate you taking the time to share this very insightful presentation with everyone. Obviously, you're sharing the keys of the kingdom, but it takes quite a bit to actually effectively implement this. So again, we appreciate your time today and for everything you're doing for all the JobTread community. Look forward to seeing you at JobTread Connect. And again, everyone, if you're interested in getting connected with these guys, go to the JobTread marketplace. You can reach out that way, so they'll know that you're coming from JobTread as well. And look forward to seeing what these guys can do to help you grow your business. Thanks, everyone.